Hello guys, and welcome back to Chris Baraka and family. In this video, I want us to have a look at a prophecy from Celestial Prophetess where she's sending a word from God to several ministers. So the ministers that she's getting to call on this video include Jackie Hill Perry, Prophetess Tiphani Montgomery, also Prophet Ubat Angel, Prophet Bushiri, and many others that we will get to have a look at in these videos. So this is not the first time that she's getting to call some of these ministers. Like, for example, Jackie Hill Perry, this should be like the third time. But what stands out with this message that she's about to deliver is the stunning warning that she's giving to some of these ministers. So I'd like us just to get to have a look at in this video, because apart from what she's delivering to the ministers, there's also something that she has for the followers of the ministers and everyone else who gets to actually check out these videos and also her videos as well. There's just a message for everybody. So this then again is an important video I want us to have a look at, and after you get to watch the whole of the video, I would like to get to hear on the comment section what you think about this. So let's get into the video.
The Lord revealed that Jackie Hill Perry is still struggling with her sexuality. Jackie Hill Perry, the Lord says, is not fully delivered of the original thing that catapulted her to fame, which is that she had a very powerful and admittedly genuine conversion to Christianity. A person who started out changed, putting nice barrettes in her hair and changed with dresses, has now gone back to full stud mode. The woman has gold grills in her mouth to keep up with the absolutely male gangster persona that she has once again assumed in your eyes. The issue of your representation is huge. It doesn't matter all the women out there who are in their pants and their low pants and their different trousers and whatever, who have not struggled with presenting themselves as a male. They're just walking around in their pants. They're riding their horses in their pants. They're going jogging and hiking in their pants. To them, it's not sin. To you that has the stud background, this is a big issue. You surrender this thing to God, and then you visibly go back to it. This is in defiance of the promise that you have made, because you are now modeling man in opposition to your verbal promise to God, that trusting in his grace and his power to deliver, you are coming back to woman. So human beings will look and say it's not a big deal, but that's because the people who are supporting you, Mrs. Hill Perry, are ignorant. They are the deadliest thing that you ever contacted in your life. They're worse than sumac bark, which is poisonous. They're worse than cobra venom, which is poisonous. They're worse than poison ivy, which is poisonous. The mouths of the people who are following you reap souls. The mouths of the people who follow TD Jakes reap souls. These people are Satan's gift to those who are already running afoul of God. Satan surrounds you with the wicked, posing as the righteous, so that they can sympathize and support you in your sin. Is that she actually does believe.
So just before we get to progress, you know, truth is, if you've watched Jackie Hill Perry, like there's a recent interview where she got featured on a podcast with Lecrae. I actually got to share just a snippet of it on the previous upload. But one thing that really stands out about Jackie Hill Perry is how she has packaged herself. Truth is, it can be a bit confusing. I'm not really sure why she packages herself the way she does. Leave alone even the trousers, those baggy clothes, leave alone the baggy trousers, the snapbacks, the hats that she has. But if you get to watch how she has packaged herself on that interview, she has like several rings, like a ring here, a very huge ring here, another huge ring here, another huge ring here, and then all these bangles all over, all these just weird things. And then you just wonder, you know, she's just pulling up. And the truth is, it is actually giving out that gangster kind of look. But now you tend to get confused because you're a minister of the gospel. You know, the Bible speaks about dressing in modesty. You see, there is already a suggested kind of attire that we need to dress, because you see, when people focus more about how we dress, when people focus more about the chains that we have, the hats that we have on our hairstyles, you see, it draws the attention from now the message, because you see, the message is what brings life. It's not about the attires that we do. It's not about all these ornaments and all these things. So it draws the attention from the message, draws the attention now to the person themselves. And then another thing is about this celebrity culture that has drawn inside the church, where you find ministers want to look like world celebrities. You know, ministers want to pull up, they want to show up, they want to package themselves like world celebrities. So you look at a minister and you're wondering, is he a music star? Is he a movie star? Or what exactly is really going on? So I know it might be confusing. If you just look at Jackie Hill Perry, probably I'll get to share just a snippet of that at the end of this video, and then you'll get to see what I'm talking about. But it's a bit confusing, but let's progress with this.
That she carries a lot of the prophetic anointing, and that's why she's always talking about prophets. Not a prophet, not called to the prophetic office, does not have prophetic gifts at all, but is constantly telling you what a prophet is, and you sit and imbibe it, and you don't even understand that a lot of the videos she makes is because she's talking about me, because she refuses to accept what God is saying through me. She sits herself as a judge above the living prophetic word that is fulfilling on America's back right now, flooding America, killing Americans. Pastor John MacArthur, who is actually whom God calls a servant, a notable servant. God says, notice this man. That means he's standing head and shoulders above many of his compatriots. That's what notable means, worthy of taking note of. He called this man a servant, but God has never called Jackie Hill Perry his servant. It is you out there, again, who have put your paw in the mousetrap and it's already caught. And now that it's caught, you don't want to admit that it's caught, and so you continue to fight and insist that she's a servant of God. I've always asked, how can you be a servant of God when the God you say you're serving says he doesn't know you? He didn't call you. He didn't put you in that place. How can you make that claim when the claimant himself is not claiming you? I went to freshen my...
Whoa. How can you make that claim when the claimer himself is not claiming you? You know, Pastor MacArthur just passed on. He passed on to glory. And most of the time I know that a lot of videos that from the Master's Voice Prophecy, a lot of people have always been, you know, this prophetess is always just criticizing people, always saying that people are false. Who is the true one? So right here, this is one person that she's actually saying that is actually has passed on to glory. That is Pastor MacArthur, you know.
Self up so I could go to bed. And then the Lord said, 2 sheaves stood in a field. And he began to talk about Jackie Hill Perry and Tiphani Montgomery. That's all he said. 2 sheaves stood in a field. One will be cut down and the other will be allowed to stand. And I shared that I thought, Lord, politely speaking, why didn't you tell me this? I could have just put it in the unceremonious prophecy. But God is the one who decides how he wants things, especially since he didn't give me much more than that. So I just shelved it in my mind on the 21st, morning of the 21st, around 8 o'clock, when I was getting fresh for bed. I thought, okay, 2 sheep stood in a field. And then 6 days later, the full prophecy that is called 2 sheaves stood in a field. Jackie Hill Perry, Tiphani Montgomery, and Marcus Rogers came to me. God gave me the full word. So the 2 sheaves standing in the earth that he never called to ministry are the woman who calls herself prophetess Tiphani Montgomery and Mrs. Jackie Hill Perry. She's not a pastor. I cannot call her Pastor Jackie Hill Perry. And so Yah said that the 2 sheaves are standing in the field and both of them are not what they appear to be. And I said, I saw 2 sheaves, one that was looking like bronze and the other one that was looking like gold, but they were both iron. One had been covered with gold leaf, gold foil, and the other one had been painted over with brass paint. But then a very, very, very strong wind began to blow. The wind was so, so strong. And those of you who remember the Tiphani Montgomery prophecy from last year, it is called The Winds Will Blow. And God said that when that spiritual wind begins to blow, it's going to knock down a lot of people out of false ministries, out of YouTube ministries, out of legitimate ministries, and that it's a terrible thing to fall into the judgment hands of God. So a strong wind started blowing on these 2 sheaves of wheat, and flakes began to come off them. The bronze paint blew off of Jackie Hill Perry. The gold leaf blew off of Tiphani Montgomery. And I said that what was standing there was just iron. It wasn't even real wheat. It was like iron stalks. It was just simple iron that had been painted with bronze and painted with gold. And what God was saying is that one sheaf, as I saw them, the 2 were like this, and then one bowed down to the other and it went into the earth. And there's several others concerning false prophets. And the vision that God basically showed me for ministries that have just sprung up. Even in Africa, where these false prophets are, they've been named Ubert Angel, they've been named Shepherd Bushiri, Alf Lakau, they've been named, there's so many of them. A new mushroom has stood up, Abel Boma. There's so many of them that rise up, and after the fashion of TB Joshua, they begin to perform noise. It's just spiritual noise. Then there's established false prophets that are standing in pulpits with big churches all over the world. God makes a differentiation between a person who's standing with a big church, lying to people, fleecing people, doing false miracles to.
Wow. Yeah, so that is the message to several of the ministers that are mentioned right here in the video, and also just the message to everybody. So I like to get to hear what you think about this right there in the comment section. And also, just in case you are not yet subscribed to the platform, I always get to share eye-opening conversation just like this video and many others. So go ahead right now and also click on the subscribe button. Go ahead and click on it, and also go ahead and share what you think about this prophecy that's to these ministers. Stay blessed.